All right, so maybe we can get serious, Miko? Maybe. So, Father, I just thank you so much that you've put a word in my heart. I feel like you've put several words in my heart that are for right now and for today. And I just thank you that you're giving me an opportunity to share and express them. And I pray that the words that I speak that are of me would fall to the floor, but the words that I speak that are from you, that have that holy inspiration, Father, I pray that it would zoom into the hearts and the minds of the people listening, that those that need it grab it, and that there would be fertile soil for it to be planted in. In Jesus' name, amen. I actually, in praying and thinking about this, I've had a tradition of having the word of the year. And it was really funny. In January, people were asking me, what's the word of the year? What's the word of the year? And I was like, I don't know. I was busy. There was a lot of stuff going on and in the world, but there was also a lot of stuff going on in the church, end of the year stuff, and I was actually busy, and I really was like not in a headspace or a spirit space to get a word of the year. And so I was like, nah, I don't know, which is one reason why when Charlie asked me to speak twice in January, I was like, I don't really have anything. And I remember sharing that with my wife, and she actually was like, oh, I have the word of the year. So this message is stolen directly from my wife. I'm not giving her an opportunity to share what she felt because, let's face it, no, I'm teasing. We had a good conversation, and she gave a word, and I said, yeah, that's probably the word of the year. That is probably true. That felt right. And I was like, but I didn't feel the need to share it. And then Charlie asked if I'd be willing to speak last week, but then we got snowed out. And I was like, oh, let me see. And I felt like the Lord was like, yeah, say what Alyssa said. So don't get angry at me for taking my wife's message. Get angry at God, because he gave it to me. And I have her permission, as long as I gave her credit. So this whole preface was to give Alyssa credit while I share my perspective, or not even my perspective, my facet of the word that the Lord gave her, and then he gave me. But before I do that, I actually have 3 words, and I told Alyssa, I have 3 words. I have a small word, a medium word, and a large word, the large word being hers. But the first 2 words I got, all me. But I felt like the last 2 weeks, God has given me a word for the church, just for who I'm looking out at the audience as if you guys are here. Whoever needs this word, you can claim it. The first one was actually real simple. I just felt the Lord say, slowing down isn't stopping. So whoever needs to hear that, slowing down isn't stopping. And I feel like the Lord is saying, I'm slowing you down, and you're feeling like I'm stopping you, and I'm not. And the picture I got for that was, have you ever been going slower or being parked, being stationary, and a car moves by you, and because of the illusion of relative speeds, you go, wait, am I going backwards? Has that ever happened to you? And then you freak out and you slam the brakes, and maybe you don't go that far. But I felt like God is slowing you down, and you're seeing cars, if you will. You're seeing people. You're seeing things go past you faster than you were going, and you're going, wait, am I going backwards? Am I stopping? And it's, no, the Lord is slowing you down. The worst driver in the world, and if this is anybody, you know who you are. The Lord will convict you. I trust the Holy Spirit to do his work. But the worst driver in the world is that driver that's just zooming through the lanes, trying to get ahead of every car. And like, how many of you guys have ever been like, you're driving your normal, safe, legal speed, right? We all drive like that. Normal, safe, legal speed. You're keeping appropriate distance between you and the car ahead of you. And this car pulls up and is like, you just have this feeling they want to get in. Like, they want to get in, don't they? If you're anything like me, you notice it. And maybe it's because I'm prophetic, so I see things before they happen, so it happens to me more. I don't know. But if you're anything like me, you go, that car wants to get in. There's not space in front of me. If that car tries to force their way in, I have to slow down because they're just going to be a jerk. And I look in my rearview mirror, and there's acres of space behind me. All that car has to do is slow down a little bit, and there's plenty of space. But there's this thing of going, I have to be first, or I have to get in, and I can't slow down. We have this weird thing driving, I can't slow down. I used to be like that. I used to be a horrible driver. This is for you. Newly licensed Danica Schnell. This is for you. Uh, I used to be that kind of driver. And then a couple things, and I feel like the Lord did this to me. It was an object lesson. I realized I would do this thing, and I'd like, oh, this car is so slow. This blue sedan right next to me is so slow. And I'd get ahead of him and be like, God, what a slow poke. And then next thing I know, a red light would happen, or my lane would slow down, and I'd look over, and there's that blue car going its own speed. Oh, it caught up with me. And I realized me speeding around and me trying to be all strategic. And there's a spot there, and now that lane's going faster. I wasn't going any faster on average. Maybe that car, if I did that, that car would get someplace a minute or two ahead of me, 5 minutes ahead of me. I wasn't really going any faster, and I was actually being inefficient, and I was wasting gas. Because when you actually go a steady, consistent speed, when you're not rushing, you're not doing a lot of acceleration or deceleration, you actually conserve gas, you conserve energy. And I felt the Lord say, I'm not slowing you down, I'm helping you conserve your energy. And don't get fooled by the circumstances. Don't get fooled by other people. Don't start comparing your speed to somebody else's, because trust me, you'll all get there. We all get there. So that word was slowing down isn't stopping. He's making you more efficient. So whoever needed to hear that, slowing down isn't stopping. That word is for you. The second word, this is more the medium word, I think, is really simple. It's enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. We had that big kind of, the snow and ice, and at our house, we didn't lose power, which we were very blessed that we didn't lose power, because a house kitty corner to us, their tree went down, knocked out a power pole, and it caused the power pole at our corner to lean at a 45-degree angle. And every house across, like 3-4 houses across the street from us, their power lines got pulled from their houses, and they lost power. But ours just drooped. So it was just drooping over our car, but we still had power. We never lost power, and we were really grateful for that. What did happen when PGE came to replace the poles, because it's PGE, or I shouldn't say, it's an electrical utility, they're responsible for the pole, and they're responsible for the power. So they fixed all of that, but they cut all of our data lines, so we don't have internet at our house. And they don't care. It's not their responsibility to replace our internet. We have to call our internet provider and say, come back and reconnect our internet. And our internet provider, apparently, in a southern accent, wait till Sunday, let us know if it doesn't happen by Sunday. And then I went and looked, I said, I don't see a ticket for our street, so I don't think it's going to happen. So we don't have internet. Now, why is that significant? Well, our house is a semi-smart house, which means it runs on the internet. We don't have cable. We have an Apple TV with apps that need the internet to give us our entertainment. Heck, we need the internet to control our lights. Yeah. So we don't have the internet. And so we came home, and Alyssa goes, yeah, the internet's off. And our home group realized that, because we had to tell our home group, hey, can't have home group. We don't have internet. We came home, and Alyssa's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I said, you know what? I'm going to take a bath, and I'm going to read a book. Because I know what to do when there is internet. Get a good old book and just soak in the tub. And so Alyssa goes, okay, you do that. What am I going to do? I was like, oh, well, that's your problem. And so I'm getting ready, because I don't just take baths. If I want to get clean, I take a shower, right? If I want to relax, I take a bath. So that's a production. That's get me my drink. How's that TMI? I don't think it's TMI. What I do is I start to get my drink, get something to eat, probably, right? No, I'm serious. I'm in there. Ask Alyssa, I'm in there for hours. Like, I take a bath. It is my relaxing time. Hey, Chris Valentin, that wonderful prophet of God, used to take a bath 1 hour bath every day as he got home from work. And his wife knew, don't let the kids bother, that's your time to decompress. And he had his greatest visitation in the bath. For anyone mocking baths, it's a holy place. So I'm getting my accoutrement together to take my bath. get my Epsom salts to soothe my aches. And I get this bowl, and I put pieces of candy in it to enjoy. And I, go say something to Alyssa with my bowl, and she looks at the bowl of candy, and she goes, "You going to eat all of that?" And with no shame, this is important, no shame, I said, "Maybe." And my wife goes, and I thought she was going to be mean, and she actually went, "I need to learn how to do that. I need to learn how to just let myself enjoy something." And the Lord went, click. And he just downloaded this word, and he said, enjoy the moment. And so for us, with our internet out, we're learning to enjoy the moment and be present and find things to do in the present. But I just felt the Lord say, enjoy the moment, and that's a word for you, whoever this is for, listening to my voice. When you can't be in the moment, when your mind is full of what you have lost, you can't enjoy the moment. If you're always comparing to what could have been, you can't enjoy the moment. If your mind is thinking, this is wonderful, but it would be better if, you can't enjoy the moment. You're either stuck in this future that isn't happening, or you're stuck in the past that did, and you're not in the moment. So the Lord said, enjoy the moment. Learn to enjoy the moment. I feel like this season is a really funny season because with COVID and with the election and all of that, God didn't cause any of this, but he's certainly using it. And I feel like he's saying some of you guys aren't getting it. And I'm not saying that I'm getting it either. But the word is, I feel like he's saying some of you guys aren't getting it because you're focused on what you feel like you've lost, or you're focused on what you feel like would make it better, and you're not being in the moment. So you're not learning to enjoy the moment. You're not taking the grace that I have for you in the moment. So enjoy the moment. I had this funny example, and I said, that's ridiculous. I'm going to try it on Gary. Gary, enjoying the moment. It's like having a beautifully cooked steak in front of you, but focused on not having the right finishing salt, so you don't enjoy it as much. Did that work? Didn't work, did it? Yeah, see, I thought that's not going to work. You're like, the steak's in front of me, I'm fine. Who needs finishing salt, right? Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, that metaphor wouldn't work. But it's what popped in my head. You have this wonderful thing in front of you, but you're focused on, if only I had this. But yeah, that metaphor didn't work. Yeah. Okay. So enjoy the moment. That's the word for you guys. There's a grace right now to enjoy the moment. I'm missing a page of notes. That's fun. Okay, so I have to figure out how I'm starting the second one. The third word, the big word. Speech impediments. The big word. There we go. I feel like the word of the year for all of us, and I think I say it differently, so my wife might roll her eyes. Creative opportunities. Did I say it right? No, see, I said it my way. What's yours? Oh, opportunity. Alyssa's the word of the year is opportunity. The Lord shared with me, it's creative opportunity, is a facet of that. So I want to talk about creative opportunities a little bit. I feel like there's a grace this year for creative opportunity, which means also creative solutions, creative decisions, creative choices. We have these opportunities to actually engage with God and go, I know a solution, but is there a better one? Is there a more creative one? Is there something I'm not thinking of? I just feel like there's all these opportunities this year in front of us. So I want to talk about some of that and some of the things that kind of hinder us, some of the mindsets we should probably get to be better at seeing the world through that lens of creative opportunities. If I go, there is a creative opportunity to this, when I'm confronted with an idea, I don't just give up, or I don't just settle for like the normal solution. It's really funny. One of this thing, I was talking to my wife about something completely unrelated, but I was talking about immaturity versus maturity and how we have a really negative thing about immaturity, because a lot of times when we use it, we're talking about somebody, typically, who is either should have enough experience or enough knowledge to know better than what they're doing, so we go, they're immature. But really, immature just means not mature. So if you're starting something new, you're going to be immature. That's just natural. Um, and it's really interesting when we talk about faith and we talk about imagination, we talk about creativity. A lot of times, one of the first examples we go to is a child, which is really interesting because a child's immature. That I think it's so interesting because a child's immature, but yet when we talk about having childlike faith, when we talk about using our imagination, we actually talk about using a child as an example. So I feel like part of this is we need to like become immature. We need to like throw away our experience because sometimes our experience goes, here's the solution to that problem. And if we're actually trying to find a creative solution, we need to cut that voice out and say, no, Lord, is there a new way? And we have to get younger in our thinking, which is really funny. And that's why, oh no, I can't get younger. That's immature. Well, this is a good aspect of it. The first line on my notes of my second page is, I see a cardboard box, but my son sees a spaceship, a race car, a house. I see a cardboard box, my son sees a spaceship, a race car, or a house. It's that kind of mentality. It seems simple, but it isn't. Because when I'm playing with my son, this is something I'm curious with parents. When you played make-believe with your children, did you humor your children or did you make believe with them? Yeah, I humor a couple weeks ago, my son made a car out of a box. And he actually made, it was a spaceship, because he made a spaceship, and he actually made like the fuselage, like he taped things to it. Like I was really impressed with him. And it was a spaceship, Dad. And he goes in, I'm like, wow, a spaceship, son. I saw a cardboard box. I didn't see a spaceship. And I feel like that's why it seems simple. It seems simple to go, take a mind of a child. It seems simple to say that, but it isn't, because as we get older, we get more rigid. Like, no, I see the cardboard. I see the cardboard. We need to start learning how to sit there and make believe with God. Not just that's the church's iPad? Okay, sorry guys. I'm getting distracted with Siri. Siri's talking. Something in my sibilant S's activated Siri. And I did it again. Sorry. Distractions. There we go. That should work. And it's really funny because the Lord was sharing me this, and he goes, when you play with your children, you need to try and get into make-believe. So I am lucky. I have a school already. It's called 3 Young Boys. So I get to go home and I get to practice getting in the right mindset for creative solutions, because I get to play with my boys, and Alyssa's like raising up a hallelujah in her heart. I can feel it. She's like, yes, play with your boys more. Play with your boys more. I get to play with my boys, and I get to really believe with them, not just humor them, but really believe with them. And I feel like the Lord is saying, in this year, I want you to make believe with me. Really make believe with me. Don't just humor me, but really sit there and imagine as I imagine. See as I see. Because that's what we do when we partner with God, when we ask him, what does he want to do? Give me your plans. Show me the future. What we're actually saying is, let me play make-believe with you. We just are doing it with a Father who has the power to make his belief real. But it can be hard because as we get older, we get more rigid in our ideas. There's an actual thing called brain elasticity, which our brains actually get more rigid the older we get if we don't engage them. So part of this process is actually doing this work with the Lord, partnering with him, and I feel like our brains are actually going to become more elastic, that we will become less rigid, that we'll be able to make more connections. Our brains are amazing. God is an awesome God. He designed us really well. In some ways, having a rigid brain or a rigid thought pattern, a neuron pattern, is actually really, really good. Fire hot, that's something hardwired in most of us. We don't really want to mess with that. We don't really want to go, is fire really hot? I don't know. Fire hot. When you are married to somebody and you're married to them for a good amount of time, your brain starts creating a pathway that says this person is a pleasurable person for you. This is a good person, and that's really good. So there's good ways that our brain is rigid. It's not, rigid brain bad. But there's other ways where we get more rigid, And it's really funny. We tend to look at these great thinkers and these inventors, and one of the words we use for them is innovative. And innovative is someone who's introducing new ideas, original and creative in thinking. And what I love is how often someone's innovative, and actually our first response is, that's silly, that's stupid, that's dumb. And then it's successful, and we go, I don't know how I could live without this. So most of us have a cell phone, and our cell phones do not have physical keys on them anymore. That was because somebody was innovative and said, what happens if we take the keyboard away and we just have a screen? And you know, the response to that was really funny. The response to that from like BlackBerry and from Palm was, oh, because I'm talking about the Apple phone, by the way, the iPhone. Palm, who was a big phone manufacturer, BlackBerry, who owned the work phone market, said, that's never going to happen. They need physical keyboards. I'm not going to be threatened. Palm, the CEO of Palm said, oh, Apple can't just walk in here and create something that'll, take over the market. Apple introduces the iPhone. Within 3 years, the iPhone's the dominant phone. BlackBerry is still around, but basically not relevant. Palm went out of business, and the other competitor copies Apple. Because Apple said, I'm going to be innovative and say, we're going to push this idea, despite if people ridicule us. It's hard to be innovative because you get taught this is how the world works. It's fun if you start thinking about this and go, Lord, show me the ways that I'm rigid in my thinking, because I did that once, and I'm never going to do it again. But it was fun because there were some things I'm like, why do I think that, or why do I react or believe that? And some of them I'm like, nope, that's a conviction. I know it's silly and old. Here's a funny one, because I came across it yesterday, because I was helping my mom with her taxes, and I was using her computer, and my wife does this too. Apple, I don't know about any other computer, I just talk about the MacBook. Apple introduced the ability to switch the way you scroll on a computer, and they call it natural. And their thought process was, when I have my phone and I scroll, and I want to scroll down, I scroll up with my finger to scroll down. And when I want to go down, and when I want to go up, I scroll down, right? And they go, that motion is really natural. People do that all the time. We're going to let you do that on the computer, because the computer is the opposite. The computer is, if you want to go down, you scroll down. If you want to go up, you scroll up. On our phones, it's actually the reverse. So they do this option, and when they did an update and they made this option standard on their computers, and I remember the first time I updated, I'm like, why isn't there? This is stupid! And I got really frustrated, and I quickly found that setting, and I changed it, and I literally get frustrated. I grumble. Alyssa, this is the truth. I will make an out loud comment every time I use someone's computer, someone's MacBook that has natural scrolling on, because it's unnatural scrolling. It doesn't make sense. And I know I'm in the minority, and it's because I'm an old fogey. I know this is an old fogey thing. I know my kids, who are going to control everything with their voices, are going to go, Dad, why are you using a mouse? Use your finger. Dad, why are you using your finger? Use your voice. And I'll be like, I am old. So I understand that. There's things that we get rigid in. That just happens naturally. This is how the world works. When I was the most impressionable, this is what got impressed on me. I don't know about you guys. I might be speaking to the right generation because my mom she was in the workplace for the birth of the computer, of the portable computer. So I remember my mom having the big, massive computer with the carbon printer, so it wasn't even a real, what we think of as printer, right? And so she's been through all of the iterations, but she has some very funny mannerisms and habits with the computer, because she was there, when she was, the most impressionable. This is how, she goes to the file and clicks quit to get out of a program, right? Might be over people's heads, but she does that. And I just hit Control Q, or I might hit the black button at the top corner or something. She goes to the file, and that's because when she learned computers, that's how you did it, and it got impressed, right? And I know that as I'm getting older, I already have that, and I can recognize it at times. Other times I can't. So this happens naturally. So how do we start breaking this? We actually have to start thinking about a couple things. First of all, like I said, it's good to get rigid. I'm not saying throw out all your experience, because it is important. It's valuable and good to understand how things work. It allows us to be safe, and it gives us a framework to function in society. So it's good. Rigidity is not always bad. Like I said, I know fire is hot. I know how to drive. I know how to follow the rules of the road. I don't think we should start experimenting and breaking rules in some regards. But what can be the problematic is it locks us in a way of thinking, and we don't think of creative solutions because this is always how it works. It's important to have rules, but it's also one of my favorite, and this might terrify some of you guys, one of my favorite thoughts about rules is it's important to know the rules because it's important to know when to break them. So rules are wonderful, laws are great. Sometimes you have to break a law, sometimes you have to break a rule. Sorry, God understands, because we're not perfect. And no rule, no law can perfectly cover every situation. That's why they evolve and grow. The best advancements are done by people who choose to look at society and what we all commonly know and say, really? I know we always do it that way, but why? Why is one of the most powerful questions you can ask when you get in this space. When you get in this space with God and you're looking for a creative opportunity, creative solution, the why is the most powerful question, even if you're asking yourself why. So you come up with a solution. Well, why am I thinking that way? What is inspiring me to think that way? And is it something that makes sense, or is it something that it's just always done that way, so it's been impressed on me? There's a couple of internal, and there's an external issue here and an internal issue here that I want to talk about really quickly. One of the biggest problems with creative thinking is tribalism. That's the external, by the way, that's the external threat, the external resistance to creative thinking. Tribalism is this idea that wants us to all think and act and look the same. And every group that you have has a tribalism to it. It's actually, when we talk about tribalism in a positive sense, we use the word culture. So like when we talk about trying to add something to our culture, trying to make this a part of our culture, what we're saying is we're trying to make this a part of the tribal essence of this group. So when people come here, they feel the pressure to conform to our culture. So it's positive. When it's good, but it can also be negative because it can be restrictive of how we think and how we view things. Because in tribalism, you have groupthink, which is we all think the same thing, and there's an expectation that we all think the same thing, and there's punishment when you don't think the same thing. There's shunning. There can be actual pointed, like, oh, you don't believe this, you need to go over here and do this thing before you can come back. We pressure people into groupthink. We all do it naturally, so you actually have to resist groupthink. You have to sit there and go, it's okay. And if you want to, in a culture, we talk about it's okay to have different ideas. So you can put it in your culture, your tribalness, that it's okay. But that's one of the harder things to insert into a tribe, into a culture. The idea that you can have different ideas and it's all right. It doesn't make you wrong or strange or different. And because of that, the other thing that can happen with tribalism that can be a big resistance is a lack of diversity. Ask most people that are really good at a skill, really good at music, really good at writing, really good at painting, really good at building. If they're really good at a skill, most likely at some point they'll tell you one of the ways you stay good, one of the ways you keep inspired is you open your kind of yourself to all the different things. So one of the things about music that you hear a lot is listen to as much music, as many different styles of music as you want. Even if you're like, I am a hip-hop artist and I'm going to write raps and make beats, listen to classical music, listen to jazz, listen to all this different type of music because there's something there that will be helpful. There's something there you can grab. Diversity is actually one of those things that inspire creativity. So one of the issues of tribalism is tribalism actually can squash diversity because tribalism wants everyone to act and look the same unless you make diversity one of the hallmarks of the culture you're developing, or it is a hallmark of the culture you're in. Then you're sitting there going, you actually see that diversity. But that, again, is one of the hard things because, in general, tribalism wants to push what is different away and keep what is the same. So that's for me what I think the biggest external pressure, external issue with starting to initiate this, you'll find, this pressure to conform. Um, there's an internal one too, and it's really simple, and all of us are going to understand this: self-doubt. Self-doubt, when it's about being creative or finding creative solutions, looking for creative opportunities, self-doubt comes in, and self-doubt says, I'm not good enough, I can't hear. So when we're talking about, you maybe had a reaction to me when I said, when you get to God, with God, and you co-labor with God, and you talk to God, and you make believe with God, you might have heard something, a little voice in your head go, I can't hear God. That's self-doubt. That's this thing that wants to defeat you before you even start. I love what Charlie said, and I'm going to paraphrase what he said this morning in his opening, but you'll always lose if you never try. If you don't take the step to just begin to do it, then it'll never get done, so you'll always lose. That's what self-doubt wants to do. It wants to stop you before you even take the step. And then another big self-doubt when it comes to creative stuff, this is something that I deal with. This is something, my wife and I just had a really good conversation 2 weeks ago, specifically about this. Who would care? So if I come up with something, if I come up with a piece of art, if I come up with a creative solution, if I come up with an idea, who would care? Who am I? Who would listen? Who cares? Right? We had a really good conversation about that because it's something that I struggle with at times, where I'm like, who would listen? Who cares what I have to, this might surprise you because you hear me speak, but, I do struggle sometimes with who would care about my opinion on this? Who would listen? Who would it impact? And that's that self-doubt that comes in. And so I just want to encourage us to be aware of those two things. And when we're starting this process of, and I like to make believe with God, sitting down and trying to put all our expectations and all our desires kind of down and just go, Lord, what do you want to believe with me about? What do you want to talk about? How do you want to see? Or if we have a problem, to go to God and go, I have a problem, and I'm going to suppress all of my answers, and I'm going to try and hear your solution to my problem. When you're in that space, the first thing is, don't reject it because it doesn't look like what everyone else is doing. That's tribalism that wants to say conform, conform, conform. And the other encouragement is reject that inner voice that's saying, that's stupid, that's silly, you're not good enough, who are you? And that you can't hear from the Lord, that you're not creative. That's one of the biggest things people say. I feel like Christians, we're called to be proactive and creative. And the Lord actually has empowered us to be proactive and creative. We're actually as Christians, right, we're little Christs. We're made in the image of God. God is a creator. We're actually made to be creative. But as Christians, I think sometimes we get reactive and we get restrictive. And so instead we put our heads down. Instead of putting our heads down and doing what is good, we stand back and tell people what they're doing wrong. And that criticism that we can sometimes get trapped in stops that creative flow. When I get restrictive, when I get reactive to things that are going on, I actually block the creative flow of God into me, which God creatively flows into me so that he can creatively flow out of me. But if I suddenly block it, then all I'm good for is to criticize. All I'm good for is to critique and judge. And I think as Christians, we sometimes get trapped in those places. And it's easy because if we get discouraged or we're fearful, sometimes we run into that space when we should be running into our God space and go, with you I'm powerful, with you I'm strong enough, with you behind me, when I'm sheltered in the shadow of your wings, when your presence has overtaken me, this mountain isn't an actual mountain. And when we're in that space, then we can actually get proactive and creative, and we can actually start presenting a proactive creative voice, a proactive creative solution to people and places and things in our life. And when we're creative, we're actually expressing an important aspect of who God is, an important aspect of what he does. We're called as Christians to redeem this world. We're not going to redeem the world by instituting the world's standards. We're not going to redeem this world by judging it. We're going to redeem this world by coming and being creative solutions to it. We're going to redeem our lives. We're going to make people's circumstances better when we actually come with creative solutions. And so I feel like that's important. I feel like this year is a year where he's saying there's opportunity, and there's opportunity to be creative. Every time there's a choice, there's an opportunity to creatively meet it. Every time there's a problem, there's an opportunity to creatively solve it. And I feel like that is the word of the year. So, Father, I just thank you that, again, you're with us, you're amazing, you're wonderful. Thank you that when we are with you, we're amazing and we are wonderful. And I just reject any lie that says I can't hear you, that I'm not good enough. I reject any lie that says I'm not creative. I reject any lie that says I couldn't possibly do what Miko's talking about. I speak to the spirits right now, and I call forth our inner children. I call forth our inner imagination, Father, that when we come and we talk and we commune with you, that we don't just humor you. We don't just go, if you say so, Father, but we start believing it and we see it as real as you do. I heard something the other day by a pastor that my wife has gotten really into, and he talks about you are not righteous because you're worth it, because you earned it. What did he say? You're not righteous by worth, you're righteous by birth. And I just really love that. And I feel like that's a key here too. Understand you're not creative because you've earned it. You're not creative because you're worthy to be creative. You're creative by birth because you've been born again as a new believer, a new creation who is born to interact with this world as and like God does, which is creative and with love. So let that be the final word. In Jesus' name, amen. So, God bless. See you next week.